Hi class. So for this lesson we're going to be learning about the healing tools. So the first thing you're going to want to do is in your modules you're going to want to find the JPEG file of Ditch the Duck. Open it up in Photoshop. It should look like this, a couple of geese plus a little duck back there. Took this picture, thought it was awesome of the ducks, loved the background, and then this here duck decided to swim in the way. So I want to get rid of it. Now to do that, we're going to start by making, we're going to do it 4 different ways. So I want 4 other layers besides the original. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And the first one we're going to do at the very top, we're going to use our healing tools. And the first one we're going to use is the Spot Healing Brush tool. So we're going to name this top one Spot Healing. For that, once it's selected, well, let's actually zoom in on the duck and make it a little easier on ourselves. Then we'll select the Spot Healing Brush. And all you have to do is click and drag and literally just fill in the duck. There we go. And then let go, and the duck's gone. That's probably the easiest healing brush there is. Literally all it does is takes whatever you have filled in and then looks at all the things that are around it and then guesses as to what it should look like in that area. Right, so the next one, we're going to be using the healing brush tool. So let's turn off our spot layer, or our spot healing one. And we're going to rename this one to healing brush. Okay. So for this one, works very similar. But a little bit different. What you need to do is hold down the Alt key and click in an area sort of near where you're wanting it to be replacing it with. And then, so Alt, click, and then go over to where the duck is. Literally just start filling it in. Now, this one's going to take a little bit of practice and a little bit of tweaking throughout. But what it's going to do is try to determine what it should look like based on where that little arrow or plus sign is off to the left where you alt clicked. So if you notice, whenever I click and I'm coloring it in, you've got a circle and you've got the plus sign, and it's using that to fill in what it thinks should be there. You may have to go back in, hold down Alt in a different section, then start again. And in this particular case, it may end up being better to have a bigger brush. And then we're going to Alt click again. There we go. I'm going to try brushing that in again now. It's a little better. And you can just kind of go through, Alt click, drag, Alt click, drag. Just try to get it to look as natural as you can. And go for the right side this time. Alt drag. Just kind of get it to look as close to what would be natural as you can. This one's not working too well in this particular scenario, but you do get the idea of how it should look. So we're going to turn that one off now. Our next one is going to be the patch tool. So we're going to name this layer patch tool. Okay, and we're going to select patch tool. Now for this one, you basically make a selection. So we're going to go ahead and circle our duck by clicking and dragging. Make a big old circle around the duck. Alright, once you got your selection made, click inside of your selection and drag it to a section nearby. And then let go. And then it will take everything inside that selection and try to make it as close to what it thinks should be there as it can. And you can view it by going in and deselecting your selection. And the duck's gone. Alright, so the next one. So for the next tool, it's going to be Content Aware Move Tool. So let's say maybe we like the duck, but want it in a different spot. So we're going to name this one Content Aware. We're going to select our Content Aware tool. And again, we're going to make a selection around the duck. There we go. And this time, maybe we like the duck, we just wish it was a little bit higher up on the image, not quite as close to the geese. So you click and drag from inside the selection, and let it go, and click the check mark. And then we'll deselect, and now we've just kind of moved the duck up a little bit. Doesn't necessarily look the greatest in the world, but it does work. Alright, so the next one I want you to do, I want you to go ahead and create a new layer. We're going to just title this one Multi-Heal. There we go. Oop. Strike that, go ahead and delete it. Make a copy of the background. There we go. Name that one Multi-Heal. There we go. And what I'd like you to do for this one is we're going to use the patch tool. We're going to select the duck just like we did the first time. Okay, we're going to drag it off. And then I want you to come back, deselect it, and I want you to use the healing brush tool. I want you to kind of clean that up a little bit. Try to make it look a little better. You can mess with the brushes, make them bigger or smaller. And just go in there, and I want you to get it to look as natural to the setting as you can. I'm not going to go into it too far because I'm wanting you guys to do your best option on these. Alright, we're going to zoom back out. Now, like I said, that's not how I want it to necessarily look. I want you to do as good a job as you can to make that look as natural without the duck as you can. And that's all for this image. So in your modules you should also have a JPEG called Repair Image 1. It's going to be this picture right here. And we need to make a few corrections to this image and restore it a little bit. So first thing we're going to do is make a copy of the layer. Okay. We're going to name this to Repaired. Right. Now for this one you can use any of the healing brushes that you want. What I want you to do is get rid of these big lines on here. You got a few different ones. You got this white line here, this white line here, you got this big crack all the way through it. Got a few other lines, and then you got a few of these little white dots. I'm wanting you to get this image to look as though it were recently taken, and I want it to not have all the cracks in it and the white dots in it. Should be a relatively simple one to do. If you have any questions on it, please feel free to email me. And just do your best and get that turned into me as a Photoshop file, and we'll get it all graded and see you next time. Thank you.